The biggest misconception around sleep is that getting only 4 to 5 hours of sleep is sufficient. That is now gradually shifting to getting 8, 9, or 10 hours of sleep. Until you experience that difference and life transformation of what it feels like to be well rested, you will never want to go back to getting insufficient sleep. Welcome back to the Pod Digest. Dr. Cheri is a renowned sleep doctor and performance expert whose sleep optimization research has enhanced the careers of CEOs as well as athletes in the NFL, MLB, and Formula One. She has provided life-changing expertise to companies like Nike, Under Armour, and Google. In this podcast, she offers some very practical strategies to get the best sleep possible. A common misconception is that everyone needs a certain amount of sleep. The threshold recommendation from the American Academy of Sleep Medicine and the Sleep Research Society is minimally 7 hours of sleep. But we might actually need 8 hours or 9 hours or more to feel well rested, which varies by individuals. So we need to find the individual requirement that makes us feel well rested and ability to function well at a high level during the day. Getting that 15 or 30 minutes of extra sleep can make a difference. For example, if you're getting 6 hours, try getting 15 minutes or 30 minutes more every day for this 1 week. Then get 15 or 30 minutes more next week. And this will build the sleep requirement from 6 hours to 6.5 hours. There was once a study done on adult male basketball players. In this study, the impact on performance outcomes was examined by extending sleep to 9 or 10 hours over the course of 5 to 7 weeks. The metrics measured were the impact on reaction time, fatigue levels, impact on their on-court performance, specifically free throw shots, three-point shots, sprint time. Over the course of those 5 to 7 weeks, there was a 9% improvement in free throws, 9% improvement in three-point shots, a 12% faster reaction time, and a 4% increase in faster sprint time. These improvements proved to be game changers in the tournaments and also for the athletes' careers. The hope is that they have invested not just the night before that championship game, but an entire season, starting in the off-season, on cultivating better sleep habits. Dr. Cheri had partnered with ESPN on the NBA Schedule Alert project, where they asked to predict the NBA teams that would be at risk of losing games strictly based on their schedule. Not factoring in the strength of the team, but based on their schedule and where they're traveling to different time zones. Over 3 seasons, she was 76 to 86% correct on accurately predicting when an NBA team will be at highest risk of losing strictly based on the schedule. When you're not getting sufficient sleep for multiple days, there is more variability in our biomechanics, which means we are moving differently and not per the preferred coordination strategy. So, for example, if an athlete is doing a vertical jump when well rested, they should be able to do it consistently. But if they are not well rested, it can cause them to move differently, which may cause a knee or hip injury. Another important factor is the sleep environment. It is essential to make our sleep environment like a cave, dark, quiet, cool, and comfortable. Dark blackout curtains, eye masks, earplugs, a white noise machine are some of the easiest tools to achieve this. Listening to radio, music, or podcasts while sleeping does not affect sleep quality. Try to avoid TV and bright light exposed to you in time before bedtime, as that can be very psychologically stimulating. A temperature of 60 to 67 Fahrenheit or 16 to 20 degrees Celsius has been shown to help individuals fall and stay asleep. If that is frigidly cold for some, try to find the temperature that works for you. Note that if you are someone who likes to take a bath before bed, Dr. Cheri encourages you to shift the shower time an hour and a half before bedtime. A hot bath increases the core temperature, but when you fall asleep, the core temperature drops. So that creates a competing signal during bedtime. Backing that shower up an hour and a half should be sufficient time to adjust. Moreover, what we eat and how our gut responds to that also affects sleep and the functioning the next day. The preference is not to have a huge meal right before bed that's fried, fatty, heavy, sitting in your stomach an hour right before bedtime. But it is okay to have a pre-sleep snack. And so, for example, whole grain cereal and milk is an easy one. Cottage cheese, fruit, or 100% whole wheat crackers or a handful of nut mix is also considered a good snack. Alcohol, caffeine, sugary carbs, and fried food should be avoided. Did you know that hunger is hormonal? Leptin and ghrelin are 2 hormones that regulate appetite. Ghrelin makes you more hungry, leptin makes you feel more satiated. If you don't get sufficient sleep, these levels can be imbalanced. And that is when we tend to gravitate towards carb and unhealthy foods at odd timings. This is one of the causes of weight gain. Then there are some people who have racing, creative thoughts just before bed, or those who think through the day and need to process their thoughts about how to prepare for tomorrow. As such, Dr. Cheri recommends spending 10 minutes processing thoughts outside of bed in dim light every single night. She also says we could do stretching or journaling before sleep. Deep breathing exercises to activate your parasympathetic system and dampen down your sympathetic system. And this will physiologically relax the body and brain to be in a better state to sleep at night. It's easier to slowly pump your brakes and then try to sleep versus if you were going 60 miles an hour on a freeway and then suddenly slamming on the brakes and just jumping into bed. Have you noticed that when we haven't slept, we are more likely to make people cry? And it's because our emotions are not regulated well. When we're short on sleep, we are more irritable, more grouchy, and respond more with our emotions. Once Dr. Cheri started learning about sleep and the impact it has had on her emotions, she could see a huge variance in her decision-making when she's not well slept and overslept, and also how short-tempered she can be if she hasn't slept enough. So on the days where she hasn't slept, she tries not to make any decisions, not to talk to many people, because there's a risk she might be irritable in how she considers things and responds. Jeff Bezos is also someone who has been an advocate about quality sleep and vocal that he needs 8 hours every night. So if his job is to make decisions, then his job is also to sleep. You definitely make better decisions when you're well rested, less likely to make cognitive errors, have better judgment, and react faster. Sleep debt is a concept wherein the body requires a certain amount every single night. Suppose a person needs 8 hours every night, and conceptually if she doesn't meet that 8 hours, then they build up a debt. If you know that you're going to have a day where you're going to have sleep loss, say in a week I'm going to have a project or vacation and I'm not going to be getting enough sleep that night, then what you can do in the days leading up to it is getting sufficient sleep. Bottom line is, you can pay back sleep debt, but it often can take more than just one day or one weekend of quality sleep. Multiple weeks will really be beneficial to paying back more of your sleep debt. Next, they talk about the different stages of sleep. We have light stages of sleep, then deep stages of sleep, and then rapid eye movement, also known as REM sleep, or when you dream. The beginning of the night, we get deeper sleep. Deep sleep helps with muscle recovery and regeneration because the biggest pulse of the growth hormone is during deep sleep. And then in the early morning hours is when we get more REM sleep. REM sleep tends to be more associated with consolidation of learning, memory, and skills. We go through these cycles during the nighttime, about 90 to 120 minutes, but the proportion changes through the night. Our muscle memory is sort of implicated with sleep. Dr. Cheri uses the analogy of hitting the save button. After you learn new material or a new skill set, we need to go home and sleep so that it goes into long-term storage and saves it there. You can retrieve that new learning the following day. To maximize REM or your dreaming sleep in early morning hours, it is better to set the alarm to the time that you actually have to get out of bed. Setting the alarm half an hour early and snoozing 5 times can lead to fragmented sleep, and we lose out on the benefits of REM sleep. Make your sleep work to your chronotype and to your advantage. If you are more productive in the evenings, then try to maximize your sleep by starting your day late. Dr. Cheri also talks about encouraging athletes to nap before a game. It is called the nappuccino. The nappuccino is a useful tool if you're trying to have a temporary boost in alertness and performance. To do so, take your favorite caffeinated beverage. The caffeine will start to kick in about 15 minutes, and then go take the 20 to 30 minute power nap. So if you're able to fall asleep within that 5 to 10 minutes, while the caffeine will start to come on board, then when you wake up after 20 to 30 minutes. Both the caffeine and the power nap will have kicked in. That's more effective for alertness and performance improvement for a couple of hours than if you only did the caffeine alone or only did the power nap alone. The caveat is you do need to fall asleep within about 10 minutes and stay in lighter stages of sleep. There are benefits of lighter stages of sleep that can give alertness and performance boost. The deeper stages will cause sleep inertia and sluggishness. There's a few things that parents need to know about sleep when it relates to their children. They need to start early years to instill good sleep habits and a routine so that they can make it a priority as they go through early childhood, adolescence, and adult life. Think about sleep as not the end of today, but the beginning of tomorrow. What you do to try and get the duration that you're striving for will affect everything about how you function, how you interact with individuals, and ultimately perform tomorrow. Thank you for watching. We hope you learned a thing or two about sleep today. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.